Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Scotty. This is Pete,
It's good.
and today we're going to be talking about something a little heavy. Well, not heavy, but
We'll propose the question.
there you go.
We're gonna propose a question.
A little more serious from what we normally do. A little more serious.
So
And we're going to be talking about the question of whether or not comic book movies are oversaturating the box office. As far as, how many are being pumped out a year, how popular they are, and whether or not they're really overshadowing a lot of original movies that may not really get a chance to shine, you know?
Mhm.
And really, there's not a lot of them that are really getting too much of a chance to shine. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit.
yeah, and again, this is casual conversation. If you feel the need to, why don't you put down your favorite original movie in the comments? Share with us.
Hmm If there's anything, hey, that we haven't seen, maybe we'll check it out.
Yeah.
Maybe, but we watch a lot of movies, so I doubt it.
So to really start it off, we have a total of, I believe, 6 comic book related movies coming out, have come out this year.
Yeah, that either have been released or are set to be released.
Yeah,
This
and as hyped we are for these movies because we've talked about our love for comic books. And,
Oh yeah,
superhero movies. And,
super hyped.
Just a love for the sort of
For the
comic book trend.
yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
for the whole subsection of pop culture.
Yeah. Again, as hyped as we are, they do overshadow almost everything else coming out this year.
Mhm.
You know. So why don't you? I want you to explain to me in your own words what an original movie, or how can an original movie actually stand a chance against Batman vs Superman or Civil War? The biggest movies that are coming out this year.
That's the whole conundrum of the whole thing. Like, how do you compete with those kind of movies?
Exactly.
And it's hard. It's hard. How can they stand a chance? I mean, you obviously can't market movies like that as much as you can market a Marvel movie or a DC movie because the budgets are bigger.
Way bigger.
The studios have a lot more money, and with every movie that comes out, they're making more money. So they're not in a deficit at all as far as the income that they're making off these movies. So they're only have more resources to work with to up the ante for the next movie, which will be better, which will be better, which will be better, and that'll be a whole cycle.
Right.
They're really on a snowball course.
Yeah.
A snowball course. Yeah.
So I think the appropriate answer would be an original movie can't compete.
Not really.
There's really no competition.
Statistically, no. Artistically, oh yeah.
Oh well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there are movies that'll be way better than.
Oh yeah.
You know.
There are probably already have been, but
it's a shame to see if you guys have checked out our 10 Cloverfield Lane review, I highly praise that movie. It's a very original movie, and like I said, shares almost no resemblance to the first Cloverfield. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's something in there that might connect them. You really have to watch it.
yeah.
But to me, this is an original movie. It doesn't have comic book heroes in it. It doesn't have,
There's no over the top action or
Yeah,
one dimensional plot structures or any of that stuff.
and it's an example of going to the movies and having an awesome time with an intense thriller, that isn't Batman flying through Gotham or
Yeah.
Captain America fighting Iron Man. It's a sad thing. Again, I love comic book movies, but I love movies in general, as I know you do.
Of course.
So, looking back, really, what are some of your favorite original movies?
Well, what constitutes an original movie? Would it be more of would it be just something that's completely out of the gate, brand spanking new, like an original script, all this, that, and the other, or because everything nowadays is a reboot or a sequel or something like that.
That's true. But
So it's
I was thinking more along the lines of Christopher Nolan. He mostly directs original movies that he
true.
scripts. M. Night Shyamalan, for the better part of his
the
career,
better half
of it, he did original scripts. Just original movies in general. I mean, there's a lot of them out there, but
Would you count book adaptations?
For the sake of the podcast, yeah.
Okay, because you can go on about like Stephen King movies and that respect,
well,
but those movies are amazing.
Some of them are hit or miss, but
yeah,
for
the most part. Yeah. Original movies, as far as actors, that's not like a reboot or a remake or a sequel or something. Oh man, there's actually, believe it or not, a lot to choose from. If you've watched movies and you've done your research, big one for me would probably be. Did you ever see Black Hawk Down?
A very long time ago.
Yeah, Black Hawk Down I really like a lot. I'm not too big on war movies, for the most part, but everything about that movie was really, really good. I remember when it was coming out in theaters, I couldn't see it because I was young, but I saw it a while ago, and I really liked it. I liked it a lot. Not because of the violence or any of that stuff, because that's not really what the story is about, but mostly just for the humanity of the whole thing, the humanity of war and the camaraderie of it. You can compare it a lot to. Did you ever see what's it called? Jeremy Renner, the one Best Picture. Hurt Locker. There you go. Hurt Locker was really good.
That was a fantastic.
It was an awesome movie because it wasn't about war.
Yeah. It
was about a man's addiction to facing death. Really.
Yeah.
It's about a man's addiction to the thrill of almost dying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and it's just set during wartime.
Yeah, I mean the wartime is a setting. Yeah,
so, it's
the story takes a whole different.
Exactly, it's not a war movie for war movie's sake.
Yeah,
Another one of my favorites, probably one of my all-time favorites. It was a book adaptation, and it was you ever seen Memoirs of a Geisha?
I haven't seen it, but I'm very well aware of the movie.
That is, I'm gonna say in my top 5 list of favorite movies of all time.
Top 5.
Top list. 5. Yep, it's definitely up there. Not because it's amazingly, directed or it's artistically, accurate or anything like that, but just it feels unique, which is really the whole point of original movies like that. It feels like no other movie out there is going to look, sound, or feel the way this movie feels. And you can get that sort of feeling from a lot of different movies. I'm not saying that one in particular, but that's one of those movies where I get that feeling from. Another big one of mine. Sorry, I know I'm rambling, but The Terminal with Tom Hanks. Yeah, that was my favorite movie for a really long time, for quite a number of years. I would say was The Terminal, for that same reason. Okay, it's a man stuck in an airport. So what? But it's the psychology of the whole thing. It's the psychology of, almost a sort of pseudo claustrophobia. In a weird way, like he's stuck in this. I mean, he's not going crazy the whole time, but he's living, he's surviving.
Right.
And it's just a direction in a movie that we've almost. I'm not gonna say we've never seen because every story's been told already. It's just how you tell it is what changes. But you compare a movie like that to Iron Man 2, and you're getting pretty much 2 totally different experiences. Not because they're 2 different types of movies, but because. Oh, okay, here's the next chapter in the Iron Man saga, or here's the next chapter in the Avengers saga, or the Batman saga, or whatever. Whereas these are standalone classics that we can just love and enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that it's become a rare thing today to go out and see an original movie and really enjoy it, and it become one of your favorite movies. Not that we don't like these comic book movies. I love the Iron Man movies and the Avenger movies, and hopefully the DC movies do good.
Fingers crossed.
But for me, I think some of my favorite original stuff would definitely be Inception.
Oh yeah,
Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy. The cast was incredible.
Yeah, you couldn't have assembled a better cast. That's like the Nolan cast.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, that's like everyone that he's ever really reused a lot in his movies, except for like Christian Bale, I guess.
Yeah. An incredible movie. I've seen the movie. I saw it 3 times in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them being IMAX. So, yeah, I mean, I do like Christopher Nolan's direction. Again, I if you guys had listened to previous podcasts, I didn't like the Dark Knight trilogy that much. I did like The Dark Knight. Wasn't too crazy about the trilogy. He also did another movie, The Prestige.
Well, it goes to show the procedure is amazing. It goes to show the difference then, because you have a comic book character and you already know what you're expecting going in. You already know what it's going to be.
You'll have an idea.
But, yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah,
have
you have
an
an
idea
idea.
of what will happen.
But you compare, Batman Begins to Memento, and it's two totally different experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which shows, the versatility of Christopher Nolan.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to go from two extremes almost.
And a lot of directors are relatively good at that, which is why I respect the Academy a lot for recognizing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the Academy was anything like if they based the Academy Awards based on how successful a movie was, first of all, they'd be really short, and it'd be the same movie winning every time.
Yep. So yeah, for me, The Prestige was a fantastic movie. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
You had Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, and Scarlett Johansson,
and
then David Bowie,
the late great David Bowie,
as Nikola Tesla.
Yep. That's just a small example, but
fantastic movie. I think M. Night Shyamalan again. He did
a lot of good movies from him.
He did Signs, which I think was so good. He's so good at storytelling. I mean, again, in that sort of era where he was doing okay. Mm-hmm. The movie is such a good example of his storytelling. Another one, which actually has to do with comic book heroes, is Unbreakable. I don't know if you've seen Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen it.
Very, very good movie. The movie is about superheroes, but it's not about existing superheroes.
Yeah, it's just sort of fictional superheroes.
Yeah, fantastic. Again, another fantastic movie. Even and I guess. Would you say that we can include sequels to original movies?
Give me an example. Like what are you thinking?
I'm thinking the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Because it's just
Crystal Skull.
But the good thing about the Indy trilogy is that it's nothing continuous. It's just like, hey, here's another Indiana Jones adventure.
So if anything, they all almost stand alone.
So I would count the Indy trilogy.
So, movies like that, movies that make you feel good, that aren't attached to anything else. I like that.
Yeah, they stand alone.
Yeah. So, that would be, I think, I know I could think of so many more.
Oh yeah, we can go on and on just listing movies, but what we really wanted to get into was whether or not there's going to be too many comic book movies, or too many reboots, or too many rehashings of the same stuff.
Reboots to me are killing me.
Yeah,
I can't rarely enjoy a reboot.
It has to be done really. It has to be done to the point where you don't even know it's a reboot.
For example, the new Ghostbusters movie.
I mean, if you don't know that's a reboot, then you've been living under it.
No, I'm saying it's a reboot. Where they're rebooting the Ghostbusters franchise.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
why?
Think of the stellar cast in the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and the problem with doing a reboot like that is, I agree with you completely. If you don't nail it, then you're just slapping the face of that whole of the history of the film.
I'm not saying the movie looks horrible, but it's, to me, I like necessity.
Exactly, exactly, and that's really what it comes down to: do these movies need to be made?
They don't. You're wasting money. The movie could tank completely because, again, Ghostbusters comes out this year, but look at everything else that's coming out. There's a movie, there's a superhero movie for each part of the year.
Yeah, pretty much.
So whenever you release
your
movie,
there's 2 superhero movies for each part of the year.
You're screwing yourself over.
You're averaging a superhero movie every 2 months.
Pretty much.
This year.
Yeah. And not to mention, other content as well. Like Netflix is doing their own thing. Marvel's, teaming with Netflix, obviously, to do the Daredevil and the Jessica Jones and the Luke Cage.
And then, of course, you got, the weekly runnings of DC TV. Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow. 4 different DC shows that are going on right now.
I didn't even take that into consideration.
On top of Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So it's just really saturating everything, And again, it can be a little tiresome. I think it can be a little tiresome at times.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I honestly I think it is. It's gotten to that point.
You know, because if you look at Marvel, they release 2 movies a year.
Yeah,
you know, one.
That's been the pattern now.
Yeah, and not I get hyped for every single one. You know, because I love superheroes. It makes you feel like a kid again.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It makes you feel like a kid. Not to mention you love these characters.
That's probably what they play on too.
Yeah, but you know, it can be a little too much at times. You know, I do enjoy the shows, the TV shows, but it's so rare when you get something that's original. You know, and I think for me, you know, I had always wanted to be a sort of independent filmmaker. I just always lacked, you know, the sort of, you know, equipment, obviously, because none of that's cheap. You know, and you know, for me, to look at 2016's schedule of movies, I could see nowhere where I could put a movie or my movie where it would do good and not be affected by the comic book movies. You know, and it must be frustrating. You know, because you have so many up and coming talents. Like for example, again, Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane. You know, of course, he was able to throw his movie out before the hype. You know,
Yeah.
which was good. You know, and I'm not too sure that, you know, it did that well at the box office.
And even then, he's still riding on the heels of Deadpool.
Yeah, that's true too, because that's still in theaters as we speak. So, you know, it's kind of a sad thing, you know, and you look at how much more we're gonna get in the future.
Yeah,
There's gonna be, I think DC might be doing the same thing also, 2 movies a year to sort of establish and build their world.
why not? You know, that's probably what they're thinking. Hey,
So-
if Marvel's doing it, why
Yeah,
not?
so that's double than what we were gonna have before DC kind of came into the
So
picture.
we can almost guarantee, we can almost count on 4 superhero movies a year. From
At a
both
minimum.
sides. At a minimum, yeah, exactly. At a bare minimum.
Because you don't know who else is going to step up and try to grab onto this sort of trend, you know.
Rip off the same formula.
Which again, if it's working, you know, it's what's hot right now. So that to me, you know, again, it's. I mean, for example, look at how many times they did Spider-Man. 5 movies. What this showed to me. This example here, what it showed to me is that the superhero hype will not die down ever, or if not for a long time, because 5 Spider-Man movies, and look at how Spider-Man broke the internet in the last 2 seconds of that Civil War trailer. You've seen him before 5 times, and I love Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. You're Superman, I'm Spider-Man. That's my favorite superhero. Look at how he broke the freaking internet with that 2-second cameo. A character they've seen so many times before, and they want to see him again.
That's the gold mine of it, though.
Yeah.
You know, you can make 50 Spider-Man movies, and people will see all 50 of those Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Whether it be out of, you know, just being a fan of the movie, whether or not to pick it apart, whether or not to just do it as a joke, like, hey, forget Spider-Man, I'm gonna watch it sarcastically, because people just do that. People just troll like that.
Well, I mean, I don't spend money sarcastically,
No.
so I wouldn't do that. But I know what you're talking about. People do that, you know.
The point is that people are still going to spend money to go see this movie for whatever reason.
So but it's
Or
cool.
these movies,
You know, what I appreciate about, you know, the comic book movie, you know, industry, Marvel and DC's doing, you know, they're expanding. But because back in the day, if you read comic books, you got made fun of. You know?
Oh yeah, I did.
Back in the day, if
When
you
I was a
liked
kid.
superheroes and you loved to read comic books and talk about, you know, X-Men or whatever, you were most likely made fun of. But now, that audience has been expanded by millions.
It's mainstream now.
Millions.
Nerd culture is mainstream now. At least as far as the larger comic franchises. Like, you're not gonna see like Dark Horse or anything
Squirrel
like that.
Girl.
Yeah.
Squirrel
I mean,
Girl
man, honestly, who knows, bro? Who knows?
But I mean, you know,
I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I think it's cool, you know, to see more of it in culture, you know, pop culture, which is cool, you know, because nerds have taken over. Nerds they run the world, you know. So I do appreciate that aspect of it, you know, but is it too much? I'm gonna say yes.
I'm gonna agree.
I'm gonna say yes. Would I want it to be toned down? I don't see how you can at this point, because you mentioned the DC TV shows, you got the Marvel TV shows, those have to run on a specific schedule. You can't. There's no way they can tone it down at this point.
No, they're everything's already in motion.
Yeah, because they've created a wanting for it. So now that this is your regimen, you're sticking to it,
which is a marketing stroke of genius.
Yeah,
to do that.
You can't tone it down. And it's not that they want to tone it down. Because they're making the money, they're banking. But it can be a little overwhelming at times, especially when you're fans, of the material like us. We go to MegaCon, you went to Comic-Con last year, so you're just always surrounded by this superhero culture, even when you're not at a con,
Mm-hmm.
And
if anything, cons are just all they do is amplify it.
Yeah. So it's, like I said, it can feel overwhelming, at times, because you have those, and we were going to talk about it. I think we'll talk about it next week, about how it creates those fake fans, for example, the ones who don't know nothing about their character but will say Batman can beat Superman.
Oh yeah, just off of stupid stuff.
Batman can beat whoever he wants.
That's gonna be a whole other episode. And by the way, sorry for not getting into that this week like we promised, but it was gonna be a whole thing, and I was gonna go off the rails on this. Yeah. So we decided to postpone it temporarily so we can get all our ducks in a row.
Yeah. If you're gonna talk to me, and again, I think we talked about it in the other podcast, but if you're gonna come to me and say Batman can beat Superman, don't explain to me from the knowledge from the movies
why he can
beat Superman.
Because we will roast you.
We will,
with cold hard facts.
Yeah. But then we'll love you.
Yeah.
And nurse you back to health.
And then roast you again.
So, but yeah, that's, and believe it or not, I meet more people like that than I do actual well-knowledge and well-versed comic book people.
Which sucks for a fan, and which brings me to my next point. The problem with this whole trend of like mainstream comic, cinematic stuff, or even like stuff on TV, is they have to dumb it down for the stupid people.
They do, yeah.
They have to dumb it down for the layman's, mm-hmm. who are like, oh well, who's Black Canary and why should we care? Well, she's a ninja who makes loud noises with her face. Watch her have sex with Green Arrow. Oh, okay, cool. I'm a big Black Canary fan now. Or, here's Green Batman with a bow, which is pretty much Arrow.
That's exactly what
Arrow. He's Batman. Let's be real. But no disrespect to Arrow.
Yeah, we don't hate you if you're watching this. Yeah. If you somehow stumble across this, say what's up.
But yeah, like I was saying. So we'll never get to see, we as big fans will never get to see the characters that we love, the characters that I'm talking about that we purely love.
That was my phone, by the way.
Oh, that was?
That scared the crap out. Oh my gosh! I'm
Go
sorry.
find the droids that they're looking for, man. Hurry
Let me
up.
turn this off.
Oh my God, he's using his Jedi mind powers. But anyways, we'll never get a standalone Hawkeye movie. Well, maybe. Or we'll never get a standalone, Scarlet Spider movie. Yeah. Or we'll never get a standalone, trying to think of something else vague.
Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Squirrel Girl's
never. I just think of who would want to see that,
Exactly. And a lot of these characters are hard to sell. So it's like, oh, okay, we're not going to waste time and resources on something that might not work.
Which, again, I applaud Marvel for. Because there was 2 movies that they were doing, which I said, and I will admit, because I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Guardians of the Galaxy looks stupid, and I thought Ant-Man was going to be stupid. But I love both those movies. Well,
but you do realize that Guardians of the Galaxy is just the Avengers, right?
Yeah, but that's what I was playing off of. It was like it's a rip-off. It's a Space Avengers.
They literally ripped off their own movie.
Yeah,
or their
and
own formula.
I
Marvel
was-
ripped themselves off.
I
Really.
was like, yeah, this movie looks stupid. You know, I don't understand why they're making it. You know, and the risk was huge.
Oh, the risk was
The
enormous.
risk was huge. So I said, you know, again, Marvel has plenty of room for error. But I was like, why are you doing this? And then I saw it, and I was like, I really love the movie. I loved it.
The problem with Marvel too is that they're on such a hot streak right now
Yeah.
that if they were to make a bad movie, it wouldn't kill them.
Even if they did, people will still eat it up.
Yeah, people would be like,
you said,
yeah.
like you said.
And then and if anything, worst case scenario, they'll look on it as that one bad one.
yeah.
You know?
And again, I loved Ant-Man also. I don't know if you've seen Ant-Man yet.
No, not yet.
Ant-Man
I still have to see it.
It was freaking hilarious. Ant-Man was awesome.
Well, that's
was
just
really
cause,
good.
that's just because they had to get Paul Rudd.
He was awesome.
Let's just the whole movie's like, here, let's just watch Paul Rudd do Paul Rudd stuff.
Yeah. Well, he, you know,
Kind of a cop out, but
hits people. But again, like going back to the topic, I feel like it creates fake fans, you know, which is fine. If you want to love the movies only, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You know, go and do that.
but don't try and sell it as, or don't try and convince everyone else that I guess you know all the stuff.
Yeah. Don't tell me you know everything about Batman. By
Yeah, just
watching
because
all
you've seen a
movies.
movie, 'cause
Or
that's just
Spider-Man,
upsetting.
you know, or Superman.
It's one thing to love the characters in the series and stuff like that. It's another thing to just gloat. Oh yeah, well I know everything about Batman. Okay, what's his son's name? Oh, I didn't know he had a son.
Yeah, and my thing is, you have so many superhero origin movies, you know, and again, most of them are somewhat accurate,
Mm-hmm.
but the one thing I don't like, this is a negative for me, and I'm talking to all the comic book nerds out there. If a movie is coming out, comic book movie, of let's say your favorite superhero, and it isn't portrayed the way it was in the comic, but it's still a good movie, people will set it on fire, you know?
Oh yeah,
And my thing is,
they've done it.
I can appreciate when they deviate from the comics, because then I won't know,
You wanna know what
what's
to expect.
happening.
Yeah.
you know? I think a good example of that is the Walking Dead comics and how they severely deviate on the show, but it works. It works very well.
It works. I agree. It works because it makes it. It sort of separates the fan base into the TV fans, the comic fans, and then the comic and TV fans like you.
Yeah.
I haven't read a single page of the comics. You've done both. You've seen the
Yeah.
whole. You've seen all the show up to this point. You've read all the comics up to this point.
Yeah, and it deviates in a way, but it's not. I don't get upset. You know?
Exactly. Like, oh, it's not like
It is-
Rick didn't do that.
Yeah, I'm like,
or
oh,
Michonne
this
didn't do that.
wasn't supposed to happen. Why is it happening this way instead of that way? You know, I appreciate it because I don't know what's going to happen in the season finale. I have no clue.
What it does, it creates an avenue for the same existing fan base or the same pool of fans to sort of come together and collaborate theories or do comparisons of one to the other. And then of course you're gonna have those people who are just haters.
Yeah.
They're gonna bash on one medium or the other. Oh, screw the comics. Oh, screw the TV show. But those are just negative people. People who are real fans of a franchise, who are real fans of a series, or even of a character in and of themselves. They won't be so quick to hostility.
I agree.
There may be some things that they may disagree with, because I'm guilty of that. There's characters that I love, but then there's depictions of them that I can't stand. But which is fair.
Yeah, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but
Yeah.
my thing is, I've never had as much fun with this sort of material as I know the comic, word for word, panel for panel, right? And let's say, for example, I don't, they switch it up on the show, right? They switch it up to the point where you don't know what's going to happen, and you're just speculating in your mind. Oh, is this person, going to die, in this way, like the comic book, or you're really speculating, and it's fun though, because
and that's really what it's all about. Is to just have a good time. We're fans.
Yeah, that's
Just
how
have a
it
good
comes down
time
to,
enjoying the medium.
Now, unless it's incredibly just horrific, and
Yeah.
I hate to use this example because, like we talked about it a little bit before, but Iron Man 3, I think, heavily deviated from what that source material was.
Yeah.
And everyone hated it.
It took a risk. It was universally disapproved. But again, another example of, oh, it's just that one bad one.
Yeah. Again, they deviated very, very far from what it originally was.
Mhm.
Everyone was so upset. So upset. And I think most people would deem it as the worst Marvel movie that has come out.
Yeah, at least what exists, or as part of the MCU continuity.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I meant. But for me, I mean, I could throw it down there because, you know, in terms of what it should have been, yeah, it was not good. But again, I didn't mind as much because I enjoy being surprised. You know, I won't use that as an example, but I enjoy seeing something that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
you know,
that's just different from what you're expecting.
Yeah. But, you know, going back to the main topic, we're going to be getting so much more comic book movies.
We got 5 more.
We
One
got
more
5
coming out
more
this
this
month.
year.
Batman Superman coming out less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, which we're going to be doing a whole bunch of hype videos for in the coming days. So, again...
God, we're such hypocrites.
Right? Yeah.
We went on this whole tangent about why superhero movies need to calm down.
Well, I mean, we reiterated that we do love, you know, these comic book movies, but it's to the point where us fans are it's being shoved down our throats constantly, you know?
And on top of that, what used to make us feel unique no longer does.
Wow.
You know, what used to make us feel, or rather what used to be something that a group of people, a small group of people could come together and enjoy without judgment, without, you know, harassment, anything like that, is now being so heavily thrown into the mainstream culture, or, you know, just in general, that it's not special anymore. You know, and everybody and their mother knows who Deadpool is. Everybody and their mother knows who
Rocket Raccoon
is. Yeah, exactly. Like,
know.
and I think that's what's frustrating about the fake fans. That's what's frustrating about fans, that they say, "Oh yeah, I love Rocket Raccoon." Okay, well, what do you know about him? Oh, well, this, that, and the other.
I think we could encourage those fans to explore the material.
Exactly.
You know,
check out the source material.
Because it's
like,
it's
if you
just
don't
as
wanna,
good.
Yeah,
not
like
better sometimes.
But if you're too lazy to pick up a comic and read because sitting down watching a movie is easier, then don't put yourself on the same level as people who have grown up with these stories, or people who have grown up with these comics or these characters. Because I'm not gonna say it's insulting, but if I'm being totally honest, you didn't earn it.
Yeah,
you didn't earn it.
You
know, you didn't get picked on for reading, you know, Superman comics in school. You didn't get, you know, you didn't have to hide the fact that you watched cartoons when you were a little kid or any of that stuff. And it's just it's not fair almost, to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, we've been through all this stuff, and you're just taking it as your own in this way. You know, I'm not saying that only real fans have read the comics. I'm not saying that only real fans, you know, should watch the movies. What I'm saying is, everyone can be fans in their own right, but no fan is better than another fan.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing to take away.
Yeah, no fan is better than another fan. But it is tragic, though. That, we have more people to share our joy with, and we are sort of accepted. But at the same time, like I said, we no longer feel as unique.
Yeah, and I think, you know, some of the best places to hang out were the comic book shop. You know, because it was never crowded.
It was never crowded.
You always had you and your buddies just hanging out, and you just
you can be yourself.
It's an escape, really. You know, but you know, like I said, it really again comes down to the first question we asked: are they oversaturating the movie industry? And we both agree that they are.
Yeah,
it's not going to let up anytime soon.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure it won't. You know, I'm pretty sure Marvel has no plans to stop making movies.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they plan on making movies till
I think it was 2027.
2027. Yep.
And even then,
2027.
You know, wow, can you imagine?
That's
all
16.
The cash?
That's 16 years worth of movies that they have left to make. 16 years.
Can you imagine all the cash they're gonna rake in?
Oh my god.
That's crazy. They're probably gonna be a world power. That's that Marvel Island.
Marvel Comics.
But that's just our thoughts on the matter.
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry if that was a little glum towards the end, but
no, it was like inspirational.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, you know, But again, we're incredibly hyped. You know, we're going to be
fans.
talking about.
We're fans.
This is all we're really going to be talking about. You know.
at least for the rest of the month.
Yeah. So what? It's March, April. Nothing's coming out in April.
Yeah.
Because Civil War doesn't come out until May.
Isn't Suicide Squad coming out in April?
No, Suicide Squad's coming out in August, I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. What's coming out in April? Something's coming out. You know what I'm thinking of April? Because of video games. There's a lot of good video games. Uncharted's coming out in April.
Yeah, Quantum Break.
Actually, no, I'm wrong. It got pushed back.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
Yep, got pushed back to May. But anyways, that's totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to as far as the superhero movies go for this month or for this year.
So I mean, yeah. So I guess on a closing statement, if you are insanely hyped for Civil War, go read the book. You know,
the book, the movie. I'll tell you right now, I haven't seen the movie yet, but the movie will not. And I'm saying this with 100% certainty. The movie will not live up to the comics. Period.
It looks like they took all the characters in a strainer and just
they
strained out all the ones that won't make as much money.
Exactly. And on top of that, they didn't have that much to work with either because it was like, well, we got to make a Civil War movie before Stan Lee dies. Who do we got to work with? Okay, these 8.
But yeah, again, if you're a fan of the if you're super hyped for Batman vs Superman, go read the what was it, The Dark Knight Returns?
Dark Knight Returns, yep.
Comic.
And really just anything on them.
Because it makes it that much more enjoyable when you know the material going in.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. And it makes it more fun to compare the two.
And I feel like you'll be able to gauge whether or not you like it even better, you know? Because let's say you really enjoyed Batman vs Superman, or the Dark Knight Returns. You go to see Batman vs Superman, and you don't like it as much. You still have some of that to like, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You still have that what you can fall back on.
Yeah.
You know?
Same thing with Civil War. But yeah, I mean, we love
comics.
I love Scarlett Johansson.
I also
if I could
love
just
Scarlett
put
Johansson.
that out there, if she might be listening, just in case. I know you're married with child,
Still,
but I can make your world.
we're fans.
Yeah,
We're
I can't.
fans.
No, I can't do anything for you. I'm kidding. Even if you were here, you'd ask me to marry. I couldn't support you.
Nope.
But I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the material as always. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. And if there's anything you want to talk about, shoot them down in the comments. Or anything you want us to talk about, rather, shoot them down in the comments below. If you're just as hyped for Batman v Superman as we are, let us know. And we will see you guys next week.
Sitting drunk on a wagon to Mexico. Oh, what a chump.